All right, everybody. We've got another very special guest for you all. I want everybody to welcome to the show Davy Otterby. Welcome, Davy.
Hey, what's happening? Thanks
Yeah,
for having me
thanks.
on, man.
Thanks for being here. First timer. We're really glad that we got this book in the mail. We're going to talk about that. Unemployed Monsters. We both really liked it. Chris got his awesome death metal variant there. And because it's your first time, we're going to do the annoying thing of putting you through the gauntlet of I know you said you read some comics flipped through some comics on your road tripping as a kid, but give us the origin story of, where it all started for you and then how you got into writing a comic, your first time comic. So
Yeah, dude. I think I was just a pretty normal '80s kid. I was born in 1975, and I had two older brothers and one younger. And it was really my older brother Jeff who I think got me into comics. Um, I'm like I didn't play sports. I played a lot of video games. I played all like Little League and some of that stuff when I had to. But yeah, dude, my brother Jeff was into like Marvel, so it's probably like Silver Age Marvel. And hey, by the way, guys, thank you so much for having me on. And it's Mike and Chris, and it's a pleasure to meet y'all.
yeah,
And I was
pleasure to meet
watching
you.
some of your
Thanks.
videos, and I was like, I could tell these guys like comics, and you guys tell me. And you guys, well, sometimes it's kind of like like keeping up, but like it seems like you guys dig in.
Oh yeah. And even if we don't read our shit, that our pile that we have every week, we still try to be engaged with what's going on, and we really appreciate talking to people like
But
you.
Mike
That
and Mike, you're hardcore DC, right?
Yeah. All right.
Chris is leans. He's kind of in the middle, but leans a little Marvel, is what I'm picking
Yeah.
up.
Well. All right. He's got
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
He's got us pinpointed. All right.
Or
Somebody watch the show.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore Marvel guy with just
Okay.
I'm straight
Cool.
he is.
maybe a sprinkle. You have to really tug on me to look at
That's all right.
Mike. But
Understandable. If I was brought up, honestly, my first comic book was Heroes for Hire in the
oh, cool,
'90s. So
nice,
I,
dude.
I was an Iron Fist fan, and I still am an Iron Fist fan. But
Oh no,
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. Danny Rand, and so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so dude, so part of me is like, I'm like, dude, do I even like comics, or do I like them just because I was like trying to connect with my big brother? Like that was kind of like funny, like realizing that like 20 years later. But the how did I get into comics thing is my older brother, who I looked up to. He had a Spider-Man collection, and he's like getting like some of like the. I'm trying to think, I was like, man, this is probably 83. So I'm probably
Okay.
7, 8 years old when I'm first starting to read his back issues. But it
Mm-hmm.
was all Amazing Spider-Man, and and he had back issues from like the mid late 70s. So I was,
Mm.
as a little kid, I was reading the first appearance of Punisher and
Nice.
and stuff like that. So like the
Yeah.
Jerry Conway,
Yep. The good
A
stuff.
lot of John Romita Sr. art
Mm.
all in my face, like as a young kid. But it
Rest
was
in peace to the legend.
Yep. Rest in peace.
yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. It's a total bummer, but his energy is
So,
in a better place now, right?
oh, for sure. And we talked about this a little bit with your book now, but you said that back in the day, comics felt a little heavier to you, right? There was more going on in them.
They were wordy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like, dude, I got to pay attention at school if I want to figure out how to finish
Right.
this thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think one of the things we were talking about behind the scenes, but I guess real quick, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I was
It's all
driving home
good.
trying to get here and caffeinated and all that. But just really quick, guys, just like one of the things that really hammered comics into me is there's this one day my older brother had a tape recorder, like dude,
Mm.
like straight up Stranger Things,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yep.
and it was like, dude, it's like 1985, and it's this tape recorder, and you put the cassette in, and it had this like weird orange thing on the. If you push play, it would play, but the orange thing would come up. But if you push the orange thing and play in at the same time, it will record.
Okay.
So he was like, we read like, dude, it's like Amazing Spider-Man one. It was like one of the late 100s, like
Mm-hmm.
Silvermane shows up, but we read the comic together as big brother, little brother,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Yeah.
recorded all of our voices while
Oh,
we did
what?
it. So we like recorded ourselves reading the soundtrack. right? You
Yeah,
know, we play it back like, I'm gonna get you, Spider-Man. You know, like I'm Silvermane. You know,
that's
like,
awesome. That's amazing.
Love it.
and something about that, like, and since then I've been a big music guy. Like, I went to school for like audio engineering initially and stuff like that, and so. But I love music. I love recording. I love physical media. I love comic books, and all this stuff. Just kind of like, I think that was the moment for me that I really remember, kind of just like dialing in and as a little kid, but not really able to grasp it. But
Hmm.
I've had my bouts where I've gone away from comics, so I missed like I just started. I could go on forever, you guys, but one
Yeah,
of
no, it's all good. Go for it.
but one of the cool things that happened is my we were growing up in northern New Jersey. I had two older brothers. One was crazy and was just getting in trouble all the time, and my
Hmm.
other brother was like, just I don't know, played sports and got good grades and had good friends and
Yep.
stuff like that. And he was able to he was allowed to um, on Saturdays take the train from Allendale to Ridgewood
Okay.
without parents. My other
Yeah.
brother Kenny, he was just gone doing his own thing. But it was like, oh, like he was like responsibility, and it got to the point where it was like, hey, he was like, can Davy go with you guys,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, fine. So as a little kid, I got to get on the train, give the money, and because the closest comic book shop was in Ridgewood, so we take the train
That's awesome.
two, three towns over.
Yeah.
We didn't have a car, and
Right.
that
Right.
was the only way to get there. And yeah, we'd walk there, and dude, I remember getting some back issues. Like I got like Spider-Man 135 for like spent like $5 or $8 on it back in the eight, which is a lot, but like
Yeah.
it's a good looking book, and I think it's like a
Yeah.
Punisher, Return of the Punisher, and Harry Osborn's. It's a Romita cover. It's really sick,
It's amazing.
but all these things like the destination, there it was just fun, pretty kind of like you're doing all buying bubble gum and
Oh
garbage
yeah.
pail kids on the whole way there. So
Yep. Hell
I had,
yeah.
I had, I really, they were comics were a big part of my youth.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So you said you kind of jumped in and out, and obviously have come back to it now. At what point were you like, I have a story I want to tell? I think comics is the right medium, and put this all together.
yeah. I don't know. This story actually started a long time ago, and it's I think we probably all have our own stories. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe some people are just cool, but I do think everybody. I think we all are artists. I think everyone is their own artist and has their own ways to be creative. But um, I've just always loved characters, dude. I've always loved comics, and I really don't know what it is. I don't know what if it's crazy or what to just to try to think about it now. But yeah, dude, I had this story about music, man, and it's I think there's something sinister in the record industry.
Yep.
Maybe, a
Yep.
lot
Say
of
the
different
least.
industries,
Yeah.
but
Right.
so I just always had this like idea of I don't know. Just I my main thing is music, you guys. As much as I love comic books,
Right.
I think music is my favorite. A lot of the times when I've been down or alone, that was my kind of my go to place. Was music. So what's hard is like trying to do a comic book. There's no sound. Trying to do a comic book about music. It's uh, it's like kind of hard, but at the same time, I think any people of imagination get what's going on. But like,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's definitely a crossover. I mean, you see it a lot. I'm zoning on the name right now, but the guy who did Umbrella Academy, um,
Gerard Way.
Gerard Way, musician, successful in that industry, and then what you see a lot. We don't talk about it enough on the show, and I think it's because Mike and I aren't very interested in them. Is these books about bands? Like the one we did talk about is the Jimi Hendrix book that's coming out, but like there's Sublime comics, there's Kiss comics. I
Kiss
mean,
Comics.
there's
Quar.
always
Yeah.
been some sort of like connection there with comics and music.
And I think for you, it was. I mean, that's kind of how you based Unemployed Monsters was the record labels or the villains, right?
Yeah,
kind of.
there's
Yeah,
like an evil factory that manufactures music, basically.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, dude, but that's a good point. Like Chris, what you're saying, like I don't think I like comics about bands either. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, like that's what mine is. But I don't know. I think there's like the human element in I don't know. Like it's just, dude. I could go watch a documentary on YouTube.
Right,
Like
right,
listen. I don't know. I'm like I was about to. I don't want to maybe not go there, but it's like any comics about actual, like there's comics about presidents, or there's comics about the
right.
Bible, there's comics
Yeah,
about like you said, band. I'm like, I don't care, dude. I remember I had this like comic about Tom Landry. He was like the coach of the Cowboy.
yeah, yeah,
It was like some of the same people
I,
who did like Archie, but it
yeah. I don't
was
think I'd
like,
I'm
ever read that either.
contractually obligated to say fuck the Cowboys right now, but okay.
okay, my bad.
No, that's just Chris. Yeah, but
But
I have to agree with you though, because like your book, obviously music is the center, but you build all these other characters around it that keep it going, right? I mean, they're all monster type characters that you came
well,
up
well,
with.
well, one of the things, Mike, I don't mean to correct you on your own show, so pardon
Yeah,
me,
no, please, yeah,
but if you open up that front cover and you go to the bottom, the way bottom,
yeah.
so just so there's any
Oh,
kids watching, you don't be scared.
yeah.
There are no
Sorry.
monsters in Unemployed Monsters.
Yep. There is a very bright yellow note at the bottom. No monsters and unemployed monsters. There are critters, creeps, mutants, and freaks. Sorry,
Yes,
you
sir.
built these critters, creeps, mutants, and freaks.
Yes.
There's a lot more fun to say than monsters, honestly,
Yeah.
within your band, and I think that helps to make it a lot more interesting for someone like me because I wouldn't read a Jimi Hendrix book personally, but
Yeah. So it's supposed to, I I think I'm interested in. I don't really know where the story is going, but I think I'm interested in relationships. So I just want to kind of, I don't know, dude. It's like that book is kind of. I feel like that book is kind of meaty, but I'm like I
yeah,
just feel like I just still did a lot of world building, So it's I can't wait to get the next one going. I know I leave you on a cliffhanger in this issue for the most part, but it is, it's not 22 pages in a cliffhanger. It's a 56-page book with, you know at least 52 pages of, I think, pretty full colored content, and I give you that little backup story at the end there. So there's a little, there's some full puzzle pieces in there.
Yeah, it's a meaty book, and I think one of the things that really brings it all together. I mean, I love the kids in high school like forming a band story and everything, but what really brings it all together is the setting and the atmosphere, and that's kind of brought on by your artist Jake Kazakos,
Yeah, Jake Kazakos. Yes, yeah.
who's done like a bunch of Rick and Morty and Bob's Burgers comics and other things, and it gives that flair of it feels almost like a Rick and Morty style book, but with its own attitude. It doesn't have Rick and Morty. It doesn't like delve into those, but the feel, the style is there.
And
So yeah, just
no,
talk
yeah,
about meeting up with him and how that changed the story for you.
yeah, and I guess, like, well, a couple things. I think if you're a fan of animation and Rick and Morty and that stuff, you're going to dive in and you're going to love it. If you hate that stuff, I'll tell you right now, it looks nothing like Rick and Morty on the inside. So you don't have to worry about any of that. It's completely different. Just kidding. But no, but even though I had, there were some artists from that show who worked on it. It's really, I think you'll notice that there's some of the sensibilities are there, but it's way different. It's way different. And Chris, I actually, as Jake took this project and he took it to a level that I never expected, and gave it life that I never had, never didn't think it could go. But I started out by, I designed all the characters and I kind of did all the layout myself initially, and I still do. I should probably not give Jake my rough layouts and just let him do his own thing. but we're working on the second issue right now, and we have 11 pages penciled and inked so far of the second issue that we're trying to,
Nice.
we're like a 1-2 man team over here, and so we're working as hard as we can to get it out. But yeah, I am involved in the not only just the script but the character design and the layouts to a degree as well. But yeah, so Jake Kazakos is he's an exceptional artist. He I think he was like he cut his teeth, dude, doing like murals, some like pretty legit murals
Oh wow.
in San Diego, and but like not just like tagging an alley,
Right.
like I think like corporations, like, hey, can you do the side of this entire building?
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, he's really good. And you guys, like, if I showed you my roughs, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. It's like it's kind of
Yeah.
charming.
Yeah.
Jake, his lines are they're extremely clean, you know, throughout that book. But yeah, he helped out. I was in a very fortunate position. So I've been living in LA for like 20 years. I'm from Jersey, and I kind of came out here with that, like, that dream type, whatever,
Yep.
that whole thing. Um, and as much as I love being out here, I'm one of these people that where my career has just been kind of going sideways for 20 years. It hasn't really gone forward very much, but I have made a lot of contacts and I have had a lot of experience. And I was extremely fortunate to work on seasons 3, 4, and 5 of Rick and Morty. The first script that I was ever handed was Pickle Rick. And it was at a time when there was just a lot of excitement for that show. It was like in between season 2 and 3. It was a fun place to be. And Jake came on season 5, I think, initially when we needed some freelance. There's like some episode where we're in like every episode is like a new planet and a new alien race,
Yeah. Right.
So it was
Mhm.
like there was this episode with like Transformers on like a snow mountain and these like
Yeah.
Yeti cops and
Mm-hmm.
this one chicken. So Jake did I think Jake designed all those Yeti cops and yeah.
That's awesome. That's one. I mean, the art's amazing, and I mean, you brought up something earlier about the relationships in the comic, and I think that was the thing I was looking for that I didn't really notice it happening, but that's the interesting thing about the book is like you have the relationships of the kids, both the kids with their father, the high school relationships between your friends, and like the kid likes a girl now, and that's a big deal. And then you have Stinko Base just trying to fit in. I love Stinko Base. I think that might be my favorite character. But
Well, also
yeah,
too, it's if you give it time and you sit down, and I appreciate you guys because it sounds like you did.
yeah,
If you give it time, you're like, oh, this character, like it's all relying on him right now.
right, yeah,
You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So,
yeah, mm-hmm.
spoilers, but initially, I think he if you go back and read it, like he's there,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
in the room, and he's even in like if you look at the final poster that made it on the wall, like his foot is like just
Oh
like
yeah,
he happened to be in the background when his the kind of mummy girl was taking pictures,
mm-hmm.
but
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, he's as throwaway as he may seem. He actually he's a big character, but everybody's important, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
he
was even
has.
trying to. So I just kind of want to do like Archie comics, basically, and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
just just
Have
have all these
everybody
like fun
be
guys,
a part of it.
or the
Yeah,
Simpsons, like even like Mr. Burns is interesting, like
yeah,
the villain and Mo and all those guys. So I want to
yep,
try to get to that kind of place where you like everybody.
yeah,
Yeah, and the character adds a little like innocence to the book because, like Mike said, he just wants to fit in. He wants to be part of the group, and he's just like
Uh-huh.
he's down for anything. Like
yeah,
we're gonna go to this show that everybody says sucks. Let's do it. Let's go. As long as I'm with you guys, it's all good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I
yeah,
loved his attitude towards everything. It was just
yeah.
they made it a little more fun in the moment.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And I was a little taken aback at Doris, the makeup and hair
I was a little
person.
scared. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know.
my
Did you
yeah.
get the? I don't know. It might be too much of a deep cut, but there's a Wolverine reference in that on
Is
that
there?
page.
Chris
So
might
it
have
was
got
always
it.
in the comic books. It was, and this is maybe like the '80s, more the '80s stuff when Wolverine was like a psycho killer, right? But it was anytime you saw Wolverine, it just said like Wolverine is the best at what he does,
Yes.
and what he does isn't very nice.
Yes.
So that page, I think it says Doris is the best at what she does,
Yeah. Yep.
and what she
Yeah.
does is makes you pretty.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I remember it when I was reading it last night. I laughed at that.
Hey, hold it
That was
up,
a good
boys! Show it to
reference.
the camera. I don't have my
Yeah.
copy here. All right.
Yeah.
So I was given this amazing wraparound cover, the all ages cover, you called it, right? This
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But this is almost, I think every character's on the front on the wraparound, but yeah.
And Davey, without knowing us, sent me what he calls the death metal cover, but to me, it's a punk rock
Yeah,
cover.
hey,
Like,
yeah,
and that one's also wraparound.
Yeah,
it's
they're both
also
wraparound covers. They're both amazing. So
we were talking about my buddy Jake, but really, who deserves a lot of credit is my friend Justin Noel, who did that cover, but he took a lot of my initial character designs, and really took them to a place that I could never bring him from. He's a extremely talented Cal Arts graduate, who's
cool.
worked on a lot of different shows. It's like, think about a recent cartoon you like, and he probably was on it. But he took all my guys and made them just workable. So and then I was able to take his designs, my shitty storyboards, and give all of that to Jake, and then just let Jake go. The 8-page story in the back is Orlando Velez, and he's
cool
also
art.
an extremely talented dude here. And I don't know if you guys know Matt Yackey. Matt Yackey painted Deadpool.
Yes.
A lot of Marvel Deadpool comics.
Yep.
So I just happened to see one day where Matt Yackey tweeted out like, "Hey, I'm in between gigs. Anyone need color work?" And I was like, "Hey, I got 8 pages." And he was like, "Down."
Right.
And
he did a fantastic job. And I mean, there was a lot of content here, like you said. The book's great. It leaves you wanting more, and especially when you give previews like Cough and Phlegm.
So those guys are they're my Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, which I can't wait to meet them in the next issue.
Hey, well, help me out again, boys.
Yeah.
Hold up, Cough and Phlegm for all the viewers in the house.
Here you go. Yeah, that's the vibe I got when I opened that page, was the Bebop and Rocksteady of the universe. That art is absolutely awesome.
I'm trying to do like a video game. I'm trying to think about the next story, and like I played a lot of video games, so it's like I'm trying to think of like the visual cue of how you kind of beat the bad guy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So with Phlegm, at least, it's, I think as he chases you, the cigarettes will kind of get smaller.
Yeah.
If they get all the way down, he has to like stop and like
take a breath.
And then while he's huffing and puffing, maybe they grow back. But
oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm just noticing too. I love that Cough has a mom tattoo. That's a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So even though it's Cough and Phlegm, it's like, because a lot of like punk rock or just rock and roll is like coffee and cigarettes. So even though it's
coffee,
Cough, like it sounds like Cough and Phlegm, but it's really, the cough is actually more coffee.
Okay.
But
and lived that diet for a long time, my friend.
Nasty cigarette.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the plan for them is like, kind of based on what happening is, Chainbrain was hired to be the muscle, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like hey, go, like his thing was, so his story, guys, and if I'd love to tell it if I ever have the time or there's interest, but his story is like, there used to be a horn where that hole in his head is.
Yeah. Okay.
But when he was like a little kid, like it broke off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he was, big and strong, but he's like, hey, Chainbrain, like, go, they didn't pay, go get those guys. And he would go to get the guys, but his brain would fall out and go bouncing down the street.
Yeah.
He'd be incapacitated. Where is it? We got to dust it off. So they figured out if we just attach a chain to it, when it falls out, he'll still kind of be incapacitated, but we don't have to go looking for it. We can just grab it and shove it back in,
Yeah, the scene with him was really a lot of fun in the book. Yeah. Yeah. So there is an interest to know his origin story if you do get that on in the next book or an upcoming book, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, this one, it might be in book 3. It might be in book 3, Mike.
Okay. I'll be on the lookout for it.
So so you created this book, and then at some point you got to put it out somewhere, and so you decide to go with Indiegogo.
Yep.
Um, which so Mike and I know our background's more Kickstarter. We know a lot of Kickstarter people. I know a lot of people in that field, and I've started to learn a lot about Zoop, and then Indiegogo is kind of in the back of my mind, trying to learn what it's all about. So I guess why Indiegogo to start? Like, what drew you to that platform?
It was a lot of the other dudes on kind of like on the internet who are kind of seem to be breaking away from like the Marvel and DC thing, which I just kind of started getting sick of in certain ways. That they were all going Indiegogo, and I kind of just followed that. What
Okay.
some of my other like friends online were doing,
Yep.
but it was really that's pretty much all it was. I thought about doing Kickstarter, but I never really launched anything and didn't really have an idea. And I just saw quite a few successful campaigns recently on Indiegogo, and put it up there.
And I'll say the cool thing about Indiegogo, we talked about it. I don't think I knew this before that, but the campaign finished back in December, but you can still order books now, right, through the campaign.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think Kickstarter when the Kickstarter ends, it ends, and you got to just get the stuff out. But yeah, I think Indiegogo, I think as I was saying, is they'd be happy to continue to take any 10% off any sales you have, or
Yeah,
7%, whatever it is. They're like,
yeah,
go ahead, leave it up. That's
yeah. We'll
okay.
take more.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just on their server. So
yep,
yeah, it's still up. So I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do, you guys. I'm like, because it's I'm a first time guy. It's hard to generate interest, and I understand, but it's also like you said, I had this story. I wanted to just I love comics,
mhm,
Mhm.
and that's really what it comes from.
yep,
So as I'm probably more of a superhero guy. A lot of the stuff I collect is like pre-code 1950s horror.
okay,
So I don't Yeah, but I was a big Garbage Pail Kids guy. There's a lot of that influence I feel like in here,
yep,
but I really care about comics as like a storytelling medium, and the craft, and trying to lead the eye, and give you something, and not just totally just trying to make a quick buck or anything like that. So I'm putting myself in that book, and but also really hopefully just keep making books, and one day, you know, I don't know.
do it full time. Is that your dream?
No, not do it full
No.
time, but to do. I respect comic books a lot. I read over, I feel like 6,000 comic books. I kind of still study them, and kind of like the history
Wow.
is interesting, and I just really like comics as a medium, and trying to respect not it's an all ages book, but it's not just like, oh hey, this character's doing this, they're running over there and they're doing this, like
Right, right. There's actually some
trying
thought
to
to
like
it.
do interesting panels, and
Hmm.
you know
I no, I agree because yeah, when a lot of times if someone says all ages book, I usually won't take a look at it. But this one, I mean, it shows that you put a lot of thought and development into it for any comic book fan. And I think the reason Chris and I, when we see something like this, we're excited because we don't see a lot of books like this. I mean, the big two are always going to be there, but we don't see a lot of diversity in storytelling and the types of books, even the types of art that we get our hands on. So this was a refreshing book to read, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, Davey, you said you listened to some of the past shows, and some of our listeners, viewers, might be sick of me saying this, but like I'm always looking for more fun,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
this book was fun. Like
Yeah.
it was like you're with a bunch of kids who just want to be in a band, and it reminded me of being in middle school, high school. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, guys, let's start a punk rock band. Let's get together and play a show, and then the art kind of lends itself to that because it feels like a fun cartoon that was a bunch of kids getting together playing music. So
Yeah. No, it was a good
yeah, it
time.
definitely brings something. And to go against Mike, I don't hate the all ages label. I kind of wish it wasn't such a looked down upon thing. Like I think all ages can be great, and there's some all ages books. They're some of my favorites, and it's unfortunate that's seen that way. But I don't. This book definitely, even though you're going for the all ages theme, it's not a kid's book.
And I
It,
think that's a point that I've been trying to make, and I appreciate you saying that. And it's more like Legos, and it's like,
Oh
yeah, it's
yeah,
all ages, but I'm not going to shy away from going to certain places. It's just like not going to be like overly, probably gory, but but I'm like, there is actually like gore in it that's like kind of fun. Like
right,
when that dude's brain gets knocked out of his head,
right, exactly.
like
Yeah, it is.
it's gross. There's a chain in it and stuff,
Yeah,
but I appreciate that because dude, Chris, there's one time where I was on Twitter, I was like, hey, like, would anybody, I was just trying to like get anybody to look at it, and there was a dude, his response was like, oh, he's like, because I was thinking like, oh, yeah, like all ages or something, and his response was like, oh, like I'd pick it up, but all of my friends are like in their 20s, and I and I was like, oh, I was like, dude, I was like all age. I'm like, it's all ages doesn't mean kids. It's not
yeah,
like
right,
a
yeah,
right.
kid book by
Yeah,
any means.
yeah. No,
So I'm like, maybe
understandable.
that's not the best
well, I'll
usage
tell
of.
I'll tell you. Like you got. I mean, if you don't mind me saying, it's public information, but I'll say it's 47,000 for the backing, and you got
4,700.
86
Yep.
backers, which to
4,700.
Yeah, not
700.
40.
Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, 100. Which to some people out there might be like, that's it. But honestly, when it comes to crowdfunding, like that's really good, especially for your first time out. Like that shows that there was an interest, and you could probably push further with this book and get more people
Yeah,
I,
down the
for
I'm
line.
sure.
I'm yeah, I'm thrilled to have that 4,700, Chris.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think there's some with the power of the internet, and even just the last couple of years, there's people have better efforts or whatever who unfortunately haven't been able to get that.
Hmm.
So
Right. For the
um,
first time, that's really good. That's something to be proud of. And I know we're going to be looking forward for the next issue. Do you think you have an idea when we could see the next campaign?
I
Or
really don't, man. And it's like,
okay, that's all
so
right. At least you're honest about it.
no, I mean this one for it was hard enough to get this out, and I've never have been interested in like marketing and advertising. I'm a big fan of like Bill Hicks. I don't know if you know that comedian. He has a joke about marketing and advertising that's really funny. He's just like, hey, so anybody in the audience tonight, if you work in marketing and advertising, do me a favor and go ahead and kill yourself.
Yeah,
He's like, no, he's like, this isn't a joke. This isn't part of my act. It's not a bit. Like, but if you work in marketing and advertising, to me a favor,
that's
um,
awesome.
so I just always had this attitude, like, but
Yeah.
I was like, shoot, man, like I told you, I played a lot of softball. I had a game earlier, but that was, as an adult, I didn't play like baseball and little league as a kid, and I was like, I had to as a learn how to hit better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can sometimes see the ball and whack it, but it's like, oh, to become a better hitter, you kind of got to work on it and develop that skill. So after this book was done, I was like, shoot, man, like I need to learn marketing. I want to start reading about it and just try and figure out different ways. But but at the same time, like if this was market, like this is fun. Like if all I had to
Right.
do is like, so
This is
so
part
if
of
there's
it.
a way
This
to
is
do
part
it
of
and
it.
have it be fun and chill and
Yeah.
get it out there, like you know, then I'm
It's
like
it's
I'm super down with it.
it's hard to sell yourself. I mean, it's just like, I mean, that's like a skill in itself to I mean, you obviously have passion for what you're doing, and that sometimes that's just doing interviews with us and somebody that's very passionate like you that is invested in what they made, and you just talking about it like that is a big enough sell right there that you're like, wow, this person really cared about what they made. So I think that's
Yeah, this
probably
is
that.
this is fun,
Yeah,
but it's
Yeah.
like you know.
going to cons and like, hey, buy
Well,
my book.
actually, yeah. So it was weird. So I brought I'm going to a con in Jersey in July.
Oh, okay. Which one's
Yeah,
that?
July 8th, Contropolis in
Oh,
Secaucus.
okay. Never heard of that one.
I didn't either,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But it's just gonna
That's
kind of
awesome.
work out that way. I was like, you know what? I don't know, like a table in Artist Alley It was like a couple $100. Man, it's like 200. I don't know. It was 150 or 200. I can't remember, but I was gonna just take a stack of books and go out there because I'm gonna kind of be out there. So
Nice.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see, man. But yeah, I like it. Sounds like a Transformer Contropolis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
it
turns
really
into like
does. Yeah.
turns into a building. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, the battle's over that way.
Yeah. I'm just gonna wait it out.
Yeah, you guys go.
Yeah.
I'll keep the garage warm when you guys park when you get back.
Yeah. On the parking garage.
Contropolis.
Contrapos. There he goes again. That
Yep.
silly guy.
Dude, just transform back to the robot.
So Davey, I mean, the book got funded. You're sending out copies. You're still in demand, but I mean, if people wanted to follow you further, keep up with the book and all that, where could we send them?
Yeah, you know what? It's again that marketing thing that I'm terrible at. As you noticed, I didn't put any contact information in the comic book at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No barcode, no email, no number, no Instagram stuff. But I guess it's like this is something else I need to change too to just be more. But hey, to answer your point, Chris, is on most social media I'm Pum Spack. It's P as in Paul, UMSPAK. That is it's an old Marvel sound effect.
Wow. That is
so
what
it's
I've
like,
not seen.
yeah, it was like so dude at the time in like Captain America, like 330s around that point, there was like members of the Serpent Society and these like other like C-list villains were slowly getting murdered, like one by one.
That's awesome.
And every time one of the Serpent Society got killed, there was like a mask, and it was just like Scourge was here, and everyone's like, "Who the Scourge?" You know, and so heroes didn't care, and then like at one point, I think some of the villains like came to Captain America, like, "Dude, you need to protect us." But the thing is, whoever the Scourge, the gun that they had made
that noise. That's awesome.
It was like a I think it was an exploding. It was like boom, and then like spat. Like it was
okay, yeah.
It was an explode. I think it was an exploding shell.
Okay.
So like
That's
it would
awesome.
shoot. It would shoot Pum, and then it would blow up with spat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That sounds dirtier than you mean it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. I think I was on a couple. Like I was on another show or something, and like didn't want to say it out loud.
It's all right. No,
it's all good.
It's all good here.
So everyone out there watching and listening, you'll find in the show notes down below, as always, link to the Indiegogo campaign, and I'll also link to Davy's Twitter page. So make sure to check those out. Follow all of the great work he's doing. So Davy, thanks so much for being on. We're serious. We're looking forward to issue 2. So get back to work. Get back.
Thanks. Well, are we wrapping it up? This went by so fast, and I had I had really fun hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, awesome, dudes. Cool.